What's up, everyone? All right, so in today's episode, I'm going to break down all of my trades from the morning. Now, we are sitting here. It's the first day of the new month, and I'm excited, as you know, to put October behind me because October was not the month that I was hoping it would be. And so I was thrilled this morning when I worked my way up to over $25,000 in the green. I was like, here we go. This is what it's all about. It's game time. And immediately I was thinking, I should have started the small account challenge today. Of course, I said, I better delay it until the market heats up a little bit. And then today we end up having some great moves. However, as it turns out, I didn't really hold it together super well, and I got myself a little frustrated. So as I got myself into the green, up first a couple $1,000s, then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, then up to 17, then up to 25, I felt like I was really in the zone. So I stepped up to the plate for a big trade, and I ended up taking an $8,000 loss. So I went from up 25,000 to up 17,000, and I was like, I'm down, but I'm not out. And I get knocked off a horse, and I jump right back on. So I hop back up on that horse, and I took another loss from 17,000 down to my P&L as it stands right now, $11,697.67. I know it's hard. This isn't, in this day and age, this isn't going to get me a dozen bananas. I don't know where to go from here is what I'm trying to say. So this is not the big start to the month that I thought that I had. That's the thing that's so annoying is I felt like I was in the driver's seat. I was like, here we go. I'm in good shape. And then all of a sudden, things kind of fell apart. So as things fell apart, basically, it was on THAR. So this is a stock that, was a real roller coaster today. So let's pull up, should we pull up the chart or should we start? Let's see. Maybe we should start with my first trade of the day, which was PHIO. So we'll go chronologically as is the right way. Okay, so PHIO, this stock pops up, and as you could see, it ended up making a pretty decent move, but then giving back a good amount of those gains. Right now, the daily chart, we're showing red candle, so I don't love that, but green on the, definitely net, from yesterday's close. That's a tricky thing with the daily chart is the daily chart reflects the price action from 9:30 to 4 p.m. And so you'll have these days where it's a big gap up, and if it was calculating differently, as the change from the previous close, it could be green, but anyways, that's not how it is. So nonetheless, it starts popping up, and we'll go into the 10-second chart and kind of zoom in on this. Now, I saw someone in the comments on YouTube said, Ross, what about for the next challenge you don't use the 10-second chart? That's an interesting suggestion. The thing is, I use the level 2 a lot. And the level 2 in a way is like almost like the 10-second chart because things are moving so quickly. So sometimes I see that momentary dip, and I can point it out to you on the 10-second chart that this is where I bought. But really, I didn't even look at the chart. I was looking at the time and sales in the level 2. So that's almost the most important thing. Okay, so anyways, this ends up popping up here at like 7:45, pops up, pulls back, squeezes a little higher, dips down, pops up, dips down, sort of a little choppy, and then starts to pull away right here. And so where I actually got in was right here. That, it's not a big trade, but it was right there. And what we had was an ABCD pattern. So a little ABCD pattern right there. So I jumped in, got some profit, got out. It dips down, then it rallies back up here. And I started thinking, are we going to get the break of $4 on this? And so I was watching it right here for that consolidation and the breakthrough 4, but it didn't happen. Then it sells off, and then it rips back up. Now, this was very bizarre here that we got that move at that moment, because if we look at the 1-minute chart, what you'll notice is that on that candle right there where it squeezed, the MACD was actually negative. So right here, the MACD is negative, and then it rips up anyways. So then at that point, I was like, all right, well, I missed it. I don't know. I draw the line at the high, and then I draw an ascending resistance line connecting these two dots right here, those two highs. It drops down again. MACD goes negative. It squeezes back up again. but notice right to that ascending resistance line. And I was like, man, this thing is really tricky. Then it pulls back again. Then it rips up, and right here I got in, and I was buying the breakthrough resistance. And so I got a little trade right there, but not anything to be that excited about. But nonetheless, a small trade on that. But then the first 1 minute candle to make a new high failed, goes back below this resistance line, and now we're back inside this channel. So I don't know. It just wasn't the absolute cleanest, but nonetheless got myself a little bit of profit on that one. So that was PHIO. Then the next stock was NCRA. Now this was very interesting. So early this morning, this thing pops up. And where was this? So this thing pops up early this morning. Let's see, it was right here. So it goes from $1.80 all the way up to $4.20 right here. And then it sort of flushes back down. And I was like, that's basically like a round trip. But then it kind of rallies back up right here. And so as it rallied back up right here and consolidated through this area, there were a couple of opportunities. And so I ended up getting a trade on this. I got a little scalp right there. I thought it was going to pull away. It failed. And then it ends up pulling back, dropping back down. It comes back up a second time to that same level. And I'm like, okay, is this going to work? But it didn't. It didn't pull away. So, a nice idea, but just wasn't quite able to do it. So, it's just, this is the thing that's been interesting, is that we've just been seeing these pops where, you make a big move, but it doesn't hold. This was a $300 million private placement, again, for the digital asset strategy. So that's not the headline that's been working well. And I thought nothing of it. And then I was like, well, geez, this thing just went from $2 to $4.50, but it came all the way back down. So then we had THAR. And THAR, on my first trade on it, I actually went red. Now let's see. There we go. So on my first trade on it, I went red, and I was a little bit annoyed because I was up about 11,000 on the day, and then I took this loss, which was about $1,500, or maybe it was a little bit more than that. And where I got in, I missed this pullback here, but I bought on this pullback here for the curl up, and it rejects. So then I lose on it. I'm red, and then it comes back up, and I'm like, well, do I get back in? It's a little, I don't know. Can I trust it? Micro pullback here, micro pullback there. And I don't take the trades on it. I'm hesitating. Then it ends up squeezing up here, dips down, and I took that trade there for the squeeze up to 6. It goes up to 650. It goes up to 7. So nice trades there. It peaks at about 750 right up here. And so I was in good shape. And then it dips down right here. And I got back in right here, full size, and that rejects. And I was like, you son of a gun. And I got back in, where was it? Right down here, and lost again. So that was a little bit annoying. And this one ended up giving back all of its gains, more or less. So feeling, a little frustrated with THAR. Had a huge move, was up nicely on it, and then gave back all the gains. This was just one of those days where finally things started to work. I was starting to get some traction. And then I was like, all right, I've got a cushion. Let's step up to the plate. And everything fell apart. So, hey, it's a green day. It's a good start to the month of November. I'm grateful for that. But, I don't know. We're still in a market where you've got to take your winners, get green, get out, and don't overstay your welcome. And today would have been a very easy day for me to keep trading, and end up eventually going red. So I'm glad that I walked away where I did, because this is always better than having a day where I go from green to red. So that's it for me. The good news, though, is we are seeing some momentum. So just stay disciplined, focus on those good quality setups. And for those of you guys tuning in on YouTube, if you haven't already checked out a 2-week trial at Warrior Trading, I'll put the link in the description and pin it to the top comment. It's a 2-week trial for $20. And I'll give you a sense of the strategy that I'm trading every single day. You can watch over my shoulder. You'll see the live audio video broadcast. And you'll also have access to this software right here with real-time data. So charts, scanners, and the news feed. So make sure you guys check it out, and I'll see you guys back at it live streaming tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Eastern. All right, I'll see you then.